What if the most important thing you ever did, no one could ever know? This is your life as a CIA officer. Every rank, from the polygraph chair to the 7th floor. Every cover, every cost. Here's what it really looks like. You are sitting in a parked car outside a federal building you are not allowed to photograph. Your phone is off. Your name is on a list, and the list is the only thing about you that is true today. You submitted the application 8 months ago, 140 pages. Every address since you were 18, every foreign contact, every drug you ever touched. You told the truth, because the polygraph will find the lie, and the lie is the only thing they cannot forgive. You walk in. They take your phone. They take your watch. They take the small certainty that you are still a private person. From this moment, you belong to a question instead of a name. The polygraph room is cold on purpose. A man with no expression straps sensors to your chest, your fingers, your stomach. He asks if you have ever wanted to harm the United States. You say no. The needle moves anyway, because your heart does not know it is innocent. You sit there for 5 hours. You answer the same question 40 ways. Have you been honest? Have you been honest? Have you been honest? By the end, you are not sure what honesty even means, only that you want, desperately, to pass. The background investigation takes a year. They interview your neighbors. They interview the roommate you had at 22. They find the parking ticket you forgot. They are not looking for a saint. They are looking for leverage, the thing a foreign service could use against you, and they need to find it before anyone else does. You wait. Months pass with no word. You go to a job you cannot quit and a life you cannot plan, because a different life is being decided in a building you are not allowed to enter. You learn the first lesson of the trade before you are even hired. The work owns the waiting, and the waiting owns you. Then, one ordinary Tuesday, a letter arrives. No logo, no seal, just a date, a time, and an instruction to tell no one. You read it twice. You burn nothing, because there is nothing yet to burn. But something in you has already started to disappear. You tell your family you took a job with the State Department. It is the first lie of the rest of your life. Your mother is proud. You smile. You will smile like this for 30 years, and the smile will become the truest face you own. You do not know yet that you can never take it off. You arrive at a place that does not exist on any map. The road has no sign. The gate has no name. Inside the wire, it is called the farm. And for the next 18 months, it will take you apart and decide whether you are worth rebuilding. You learn to lie. Not badly, the way children lie, but completely, the way a life is built. You learn a cover story so detailed you could sleep inside it. Your fake job, your fake hometown, the fake reason you are in a country that watches you. They wake you at 3 in the morning and demand the details, and the right answer has to come before you are even awake. You learn the streets. You drive for hours to find out if you are being followed. This is a surveillance detection route, and you will run one almost every day of your career. Left turn, long pause, a shop window that is really a mirror. You are not paranoid. You are correct. Somewhere behind you, 3 cars and a man on foot are trying to prove it. You learn the dead drop, a hollow rock, a loose brick, a chalk mark on a lamppost that means the package is loaded. You learn to pass an envelope to a stranger in a crowd so smoothly that the cameras, the watchers, and the man himself barely register the touch. A brush pass that lasts half a second is the difference between intelligence and a prison cell. You run, you shoot, you crash cars on a closed track until a violent escape feels like muscle. You learn to pick a lock, to flip a tale, to vanish into an ordinary afternoon. And then you learn the only skill that matters more than any of these. You learn elicitation. How to ask a question that does not sound like a question. How to steer a dinner conversation so a stranger hands you a secret and believes the idea was his. You learn that the best intelligence officer in the room is the one no one remembers being there at all.
You learn to make people betray their country. You learn to find the lonely man, the bitter man, the man who feels passed over and unseen. You learn to become the one person who finally understands him. Then, you learn to ask him for everything. The agency calls it spotting, assessing, developing, recruiting. You will come to call it the work. Some of your class does not make it. They wash out for a failed exercise, a broken cover, a moment where the lie cracked and the real face showed through. You watch them leave. You do not say goodbye. You are already learning that the people around you are temporary, and that the lesson, once learned, never leaves. You graduate at the bottom of the only career that will ever truly own you. You are an operations officer now, a case officer, a GS-10 earning around $60,000 to do a job most of the planet would call treason if the flag were different. The pay is ordinary. The work is not. Nothing about your life will ever be ordinary again. Your first station is a city you will never name out loud. You arrive under official cover, a polite title on an embassy door, a desk you barely use, a salary the host country can guess at. Everyone in that building knows what you really are. Everyone, including the people watching you from the cars across the street. You work nights that have no end. You are an intelligence officer who must look like a clerk, a diplomat, a nobody at a reception holding a drink you never finish. You scan the room. You are always scanning the room. You are at the party to find the one person who can be turned, and you are very good at looking like a person who is only there for the wine. You learn the rhythm of the double life. By day, you stamp papers and attend meetings that mean nothing. By night, you run routes, service drops, and write reports in a vault with a steel door. You sleep 4 hours. You miss every birthday back home. You tell yourself it is temporary, and you have already forgotten that you said the same thing last year. You spot him in month 4, a mid-level official with access to things your country needs and a marriage that is quietly falling apart. You do not pounce. You befriend. You spend a year becoming the friend he did not know he needed, and every kindness you offer is real and also a hook. The cruelty of it is that the friendship is genuine. That is what makes it work. You assess, you develop, you recruit. This is the cycle that never changes. You learn what he wants that he is ashamed to want. Money, respect, revenge, a way out. You find the wound, and then gently, you become the bandage and the knife in the same patient hand. The day he says yes, you feel something you were not warned about. Not triumph, guilt. You have just convinced a human being to gamble his life, his family, his freedom for your country and your career. He will hang if he is caught. You will fly home. You shake his hand, and you understand, for the first time, the exact weight of what you do.
You run him for 2 years, brush passes on a moving train, dead drops behind a cracked tile in a stairwell. You meet in safe houses with the curtains drawn, and every meeting could be the one where the other side is already waiting inside. You arrive an hour early every time. You leave by a different door every time. You never relax. Relaxing is how officers and assets die. You validate everything he gives you. You assume he is a double, a plant, a trap, until the intelligence proves itself 100 times. The job is not trust. The job is to manipulate a man you cannot afford to believe, and to be right when his life and yours depend on it. You learn that certainty is a luxury you are not allowed to have. You go home for the holidays. Your father asks how the embassy work is going. You say it is paperwork, mostly. Travel, some long days. He nods. He has no idea his child runs spies in the dark, and he will go to his grave never knowing. And you decide.
You make a friend in the host country, a real one. You like her. And one quiet night, you realize you have already filed 3 reports about her, assessing whether she has access, whether she could be turned. You cannot stop doing it. The job has crawled inside the part of you that used to just love people, and you cannot find the door it came through. Your asset gets nervous. Surveillance on his street. A coworker asking the wrong questions. You make the hardest call of your young career. You shut it down. You pull him cold and walk away. And you will never know for certain if he lived or if he simply disappeared into a building with no windows. You request a harder posting. You go under non-official cover now. A knock. The deep end. No embassy. No diplomatic immunity. No flag to hide behind. If they catch you here, no one is coming. The government will say it has never heard your name. And the terrible thing is that it will be telling the truth.
You become a business person who does not exist. A consultant, a salesman, a whole forged life with a forged history and a forged reason to be in the most dangerous rooms in the country. You shake hands with men who would kill you in an afternoon if they read one true line of your file. You smile. You remember the smile your mother was proud of. It has finally found its purpose. You build the legend brick by brick. A company that files real taxes, an apartment with real mail, a history of flights and hotels and small talk so consistent that a hostile service could investigate it for a year and find nothing but a tired traveler chasing deals. The legend has to survive scrutiny you will never witness, run by people who want you dead. You live the cover 16 hours a day. You answer to a name that is not yours. You celebrate a fake birthday. You keep a phone for your real handlers hidden so well you sometimes forget where. And the forgetting is the point, because fear leaks out of people who remember too easily. You become so good at being someone else that you stop being able to find yourself.
You meet your handler in a different city, a different country, a careful chain of flights and trains, and a surveillance detection route that eats a whole day. You hand over what you have stolen. You are praised in a language only a few hundred people on Earth speak. Then you fly back into the cold, alone, into a life with no one in it who knows your real name. You miss a funeral. Your grandmother dies while you are maintaining cover at a trade conference, and you cannot leave, because leaving would be the one human reaction that breaks the legend you have built. You raise a glass to a deal you do not care about. You grieve in a hotel bathroom with the water running, so the room next door cannot hear a man come apart. You are promoted on paper no one can see. The work is good. The intelligence is real. Lives are saved by things you did that will never be written down with your name beside them. You are getting better at the loneliest skill a human being can master, and it is quietly killing the part of you that once knew how to be known.
They bring you back into the light. You are made chief of base, the senior officer of a small outpost, the person the younger officers now look at the way you once looked at the ghosts who trained you. You stop being the spy. You become the one who sends spies, and you discover that this is harder. You run a handful of case officers in a hard, forgotten corner of the world. You read their plans. You catch the flaw they cannot see. You sign off on operations knowing that your signature is a bet with someone else's life. And you have learned, finally, to make that bet and still sleep, which is its own kind of injury. You carry the paranoia home now. You notice the same car twice, and your pulse changes before your mind does. You teach your children, without ever saying why, to never post a photo, never name the city, never tell a new friend too much. They think it is just how families are.
You know it is the shape your fear has pressed into them.
You sit across from a young officer who has just recruited their first asset. You see the same guilt you once felt, raw and new on their face. You tell them it gets easier. You are not lying. That is the part that frightens you. The proof of how much the work has already changed the shape of you. A source you championed is rolled up, arrested. You read the cable in a windowless room and you feel the floor tilt under you. You authorize the meeting. You approve the route. Somewhere a man is in a cell because of a judgment call you made on a Tuesday afternoon, and his face will visit you for the rest of your life, always at the hours you most want to sleep. You write the after-action report yourself. You list every decision, every assumption, every step where it might have gone wrong. You were honest, because honesty is the only thing the work has ever truly demanded of you. Then you file it, and you walk back into the office, and you send the next officer out into the same dark. You are promoted again to Chief of Station. Now you run the entire intelligence presence in a country. Every officer, every asset, every operation. You answer to the ambassador and to headquarters, and you sit in the room where careers and lives are spent like currency that never appears in any budget. You are a senior officer of the United States government, and not one stranger will ever know your name. You attend the dinners, you shape the cables that shape the decisions that shape the world. You are powerful in the one way that comes with no parade, no medal anyone can see, no story you can ever tell at a single dinner party for as long as you live. You manage the impossible math of it. How many assets to risk, how many to protect, which truth to send to Washington and which to soften. You learn that at this level, the enemy is not only the other service. Sometimes it is the politics of your own, the careers built on your reporting, the men who need your truth to be a different shape.
Your marriage strains under the weight of a life you cannot describe. You have moved your family 11 times. Your children have lived in 7 countries and learned not to ask what you do. They are proud of a parent whose real work they will never see. And you wonder, late at night, who exactly they think you are, and whether the answer would survive the truth. You make senior intelligence service. You are in the small handful now, the SIS ranks, the equivalent of a general in a uniform no one will ever issue you. The pay crosses well past $170,000, and you would have done it all for nothing, and you both know it and never say it out loud. You sit in the 7th floor briefings. You brief people whose names everyone knows, while no one will ever know yours. You shape the assessment that lands on the president's desk. The most powerful man on earth reads your judgment and never learns the hand that wrote it. And you have made your peace with the anonymity, which is to say, you have stopped noticing it. You carry secrets that could end careers and topple governments, and you carry them alone. There is no one to tell, not your spouse, not a friend, not a priest. The weight does not lessen with rank. It only grows quieter. The way a sound you have heard your whole life becomes the silence you mistake for peace. You have spent 30 years becoming no one in particular so that you could be everywhere that mattered. You have given the agency your name, your face, your friendships, your grief. You have lied to everyone you love for so long that you can no longer find the seam between the cover and the man, and you have stopped looking for it. You reach the top of the clandestine world. You are made Deputy Director of Operations, head of the entire National Clandestine Service, the chief of every spy your country runs. The whole machine you entered at the bottom in a cold polygraph room now answers, in the end, to you.
You command the dead drops and the safe houses and the surveillance routes from a desk on the 7th floor. Every recruitment, every betrayal, every quiet save is a thread that runs, eventually, through your hands. You have all the power the shadow world can give. You have it precisely where no one will ever see it.
You think about the asset you recruited at the start, the friend you reported, the grandmother you could not bury, the young officer you told it gets easier, who is now a chief of station somewhere cold. You sent 1,000 people into the dark, and you can name every one of them, and no monument ever will. You retire to a quiet house with a name on the deed that is finally your own. You tell your grown children a version of the truth, and they look at you like a stranger they thought they knew. You have served your country with everything you had, and the service was real. And the price was every single person who only ever got the cover.
A young recruit is sitting in a parked car right now, outside a building they cannot photograph. Phone off, name on a list. They submitted 140 pages. They told the truth. They are about to disappear, exactly the way you did, and they have no idea what it costs. The cycle continues. If you lived all 10 levels, tell us in the comments which world you want to step into next, and subscribe so you never miss the descent. Drop your rank below, share this with someone living it right now, and we will see you at level 1.